Michelle Obama's view on feminism. Hi, guys.
This is pretty much been explained.
Jonathon Daily.
July 2025, so this month, Michelle spoke on the IMO Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Nice name. Michelle spoke about the disparity in confidence between young women and men, attributing this to social conditioning. She noted that women often embrace their full confidence in their 50s and 60s when society begins to render them invisible. Says a woman who's probably, in her 50s or 60s. God, these women like Michelle Obama they're supreme narcissists. I mean, she also spoke in this interview about how she had to deal with being a woman and being black and how her life was so hard. Crickets. I know she was raised with money. She was given a very nice job. Not that she didn't deserve it, but she was pretty much handed everything in life, and she has the black card she gets to play. She has the woman card she gets to play. And this is a woman who has more money than 99.9% of people in America and still wants to criticize white America for being so racist and so hateful. And all men in America, because we are just the worst, and apparently it's our fault that women have confidence issues out there. Perhaps the fact that these young men have testosterone, and testosterone does lead to confidence and lead to work ethic at times, and actually trying and not being afraid to fail. Perhaps biology has something to do with that and not just social conditioning, but the left and the Democrats have had this whole gender and disparities between men and women. Men and women are different, but they just want to say everything is just social conditioning. So if they can just change all that, then they can change, the disparity between men and women. And honestly, they may not be wrong, because if they keep feminizing men to the point that most men are confused and think they might be a woman, by golly, they will. Absolutely. There will probably won't more. Let's be honest, society may collapse at that point, because there are certain jobs that women, historically speaking, do not want to do and will not take, regardless of how much they get paid to do them. So if our toxic masculine portion of the male population stop doing those jobs, what is going to happen? Unless robots can replace them really soon, then we might be screwed. But hey, we'll see what happens. I'll play a clip. This is a clip from actually Ben Shapiro's show where he discusses it. And I think he hits the nail on the head right here. So please give it a listen.
So here she was recently on her podcast complaining about how tough life is. It's so difficult. It's so rough being Michelle Obama.
Women, we have so many landmines and barriers and don'ts and limitations. It's, I mean, Craig, you're the guy at the table, but I think it's important for all guys listening, especially men raising daughters, to realize that difference, and that thing that inadvertently, as you are loving and raising these beautiful girls, there are so many rules
baked
that
in,
make us small.
Baked in without our knowing it,
Oh, so many rules that women have to pay, as opposed to rules for men. There's so many rules for women. It's so brutal and difficult. In fact, Michelle Obama is by the way, she's talking with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like the very, very famous and wealthy actress, complaining about how rough life is for women in a beautifully turned out studio drinking from porcelain mugs. I can't with these people. I can't. Here she was talking about how she doesn't have the certainty of maleness. Women don't have the certainty of maleness.
We're always hedging, because in the back of our minds, we weren't raised with the certainty of maleness that, kind of the confidence that young men in their 30s have, which they haven't earned. They just have it. Mm-hmm. We don't start feeling that and owning that until our 50s and 60s, at a time when we start to be treated as invisible in society.
You don't have the certainty of maleness. It's true. Men face such great certainty as opposed to women who face tremendous uncertainty. Okay, so I asked our friends and sponsors at Perplexity a couple of easy questions. What percentage of women versus men graduate from college and from graduate school? Who is more likely to die young, men or women? Answer: women are more likely than men to graduate from college in the United States. In 2024, the 6-year graduation rate for women at 4-year colleges was 67%, compared to 60% for men. Among adults aged 25 to 34, 47% of women have a bachelor's degree, compared to 37% of men. The gender gap is consistent across all major racial and ethnic groups. Women also outpace men in graduate study completion. Women earn about 54 to 56% of all doctoral degrees and 62 to 67% of all master's degrees. Who is likely to die young, men or women? In the United States, the life expectancy for men is about 5 to 6 years shorter than for women. A larger percentage of men die before age 65 compared to women. 31% of men who died in 2023 were under 65 versus only 19% of women. Men have a higher mortality rate from nearly all major causes of death, including accidents, heart disease, suicide, and drug overdoses. So when we're talking about women don't have the certainty of maleness, if by this you mean testosterone gives people a greater feeling of risk-taking, that of course is true, but that's a biological rationale. That is not a societal construct. Testosterone makes people more confident. It does. It makes people more aggressive. And that's what the hormone does. Estrogen does not do those things. So is that the fault of society? Or is that just the way that human biology works? Like if you feel less certain, is that because society is mean to you specifically? Or is that because reality dictates that the hormones that you have in your body are making you less aggressive than that heavily muscled dude down the hallway who works out twice a day and eats nothing but red meat? Like that biology has something to do with this. But again, this idea is that you're victimized. You're victimized. And the reason Michelle Obama is talking about this is not because she believes that you're victimized by biology. She believes that you are victimized by the deep-rooted evil of American society that somehow makes women less than, that somehow throws obstacles in the way of women. Now, never in human history has there been a group of women as privileged as American women in 2025. It just does not exist. Again, you can make the argument that men had it better than women do in 2025, 100 years ago. But the argument that women of today are the deeply suffering class in American society is not statistically true. That is not to denigrate the struggles of any specific woman. It is not to denigrate the fact that women have to make life choices that men don't have to make because of their biology, including when to have kids, when not to have kids, how to balance career and kids. All of that is, of course, true, but that's just natural to human biology. The question is not women compared to men. It's women compared to women of the past, or women compared to some ideal of what womanhood should be. What choices are unavailable to women in 2025 in America? Please name them.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that, and I don't need to say anything further because I think Ben really hits the nail on the head there, like I said.
For the latest in case updates, legal tips, news, and politics, make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and our other socials, and above all, subscribe on YouTube to get your dose of excellence on a daily basis.